Alright, so what you guys think about your study bag? 23?
Yeah, I got stuck on
23?
I mean, I figured it out, but like, it was.
It's not hard.
The wording made it confusing.
It's just telling you, like, she starts here and everything to the left is below noon, everything to the right is afternoon.
I don't know what I can't even see.
You don't know what
If you don't know what noon is, I ain't got time for that, but. Alright, let's go ahead and devise through this then for the most part. Shouldn't have been terribly hard. So please make sure that you have the right answers as we're going through. It says, last night at 9 p.m. in St. Louis, the temperature was 14 degrees. By 6 a.m. it had dropped 20 degrees. What was the temperature at 6 a.m.? And please make sure you show your work. So there's a couple of different ways you can do this. You can do the plus and the minuses and then cancel those out. You can use a number line. It's really up to you. So tell me how you guys solve this problem and then obviously tell me your answer. All right, Ronnie?
I did 14 minus 20. I got negative 6.
So you just straight up did a positive minus a negative. Okay? So you can do 14 minus 20, which gives you negative 6. Did anybody else do anything different? What'd you do?
I did 20 plus 14 and then just added a negative 6.
20 plus 14 or 20 minus 14?
20 minus 14.
And then you got 6 and knew that your bigger number was a negative, so you added negative. Okay, perfect. All right, just make sure when you annotate that you have this underlined, because that's important. It's telling us it's dropping, which means we're taking away. And then obviously it's asking us what is the temperature at 6 a.m. All right, number 2, true or false? And then obviously we have to explain how we know. All right, so stand up if you said true. Okay, and when you find the absolute value of negative 9, what do you get?
9.
And 9 is greater than 8. So that is true. And then go ahead, have a seat. What was your reasoning? Why was this true? Camden?
Because when there's two lines like that, that means that it's absolute value, and absolute value can be a negative.
So the absolute value of negative 9 can't be negative. So it has to be what? All right. Number 3, true or false? Explain how you know. So stand up if you said true. Okay. What is the absolute value of negative 9? 9. And then this one is 9 is greater than or equal to 9. So this is true. And again, how do we know? Is it essentially the same reasoning as the other one?
Yes.
Yes. So the absolute value of negative 9 can't be a negative. So it's equal to. All right. Find the sum of negative 24 plus 36. All right. What was your strategy for solving this one? What'd you do? Lily?
I just subtracted them and put it in a positive number since there's a plus sign.
Okay. So essentially, which number is bigger, your 36 or your negative 24? Sorry, your 36 or your 24? Williams? 36 is bigger, so we know what is our answer gonna, excuse me, what is our answer going to be?
It's going to be a positive.
Yes. All right, and then you end up with, what did you say, 12? So 12 is our answer. All right, looking at number 5, it says what other expressions is r equal to 20 plus 5? Well, what is 20 plus 5? Equals 25. All right, so you have to figure out what each one of these equals. What is negative 20 plus 5? It's negative 20 plus 5. Mikael? Negative 15, so that one does not work. What is 20 minus negative 5? Krishana?
15.
No. Because a negative times a negative becomes a positive, so this actually becomes 20 plus 5, which gives you 25. Okay? C says, so B is 1. C says negative 20 minus negative 5. Well, based off of what we just said, it becomes 20, or negative 20 plus 5. So what does that become? Nope. Negative 15. And then the last one is 20 plus negative 5. What does this become? Because a negative times a positive is a negative. So it's just 20 minus 5. Alright, so there's only one answer for that one. So you gotta be careful with some of these because you gotta remember the negative and positive rules. So if you're multiplying a negative times a negative, it becomes positive. If you're multiplying a negative times a positive, it stays a negative. Alright, so it says what other expressions are equivalent to negative 20 plus 5? Pick all that apply. So what is negative 20 plus 5 going to equal? It's negative 20 plus 5. Gemma? Negative 15. Alright, so the first one is negative 20 plus negative 5. What does that equal? So here we're just adding two negatives technically. So what is that going to equal now? Negative 25? Is that what you said? Yeah. So negative 25, so that one doesn't work. Alright, the next one is 20 minus negative 5. So what does this become? Delilah? So it becomes, you're multiplying a negative times a negative. So negative 5 becomes a, so then what's 20 plus 5? So that one doesn't work. Alright, this one is negative 20 minus negative 5. So what does this negative 5 become? What does the negative 5 become, William?
Positive.
Right, so then we're going to do negative 20 plus 5, which gives us
15.
negative.
Negative.
Okay, so that one is going to work. And then the last one is negative 20 minus 5. What does that give us?
Negative 25.
Negative 25. Alright, so for number 5 it should be B, and for number 6 it should be C. Alright, so Friday's temperature is between Monday and Wednesday's temperature. What could Friday's temperature be? So this one you can have a couple different answers. There's not one specific right answer. But what is the range? I totally just skipped like 2 questions. My bad. Going to number 7. It says Mary has $200 in her bank account. She buys an iPad for $210. She then gets paid $60 for babysitting. What is her account balance? So what do we start with? 200, right? Then what do we do? What do we do? Troy.
Minus 210.
And how do you know you're subtracting? What's the key word there?
It says she buys, not gets.
Okay. And then, so what's our answer when we do 200 minus 210?
Negative 10.
Perfect. All right, and then what, Troy?
She gets $60, so it's plus 60.
All right, so then what is her final account balance?
It will be $50.
Yep. All right. Which point on the number line represents negative 3.5? So stand up if you picked S. Stand up if you picked R. Stand up if you picked Q. Alright, so Q is the correct answer. Now the next question in that one, have C, says, what is the absolute value of that point? So what is the absolute value of negative 3.5? Is that what we need? Not 3, but... Yes. Okay, so it's a positive 3.5. All right, so now we're on Friday. So what is the range of our possible temperatures for Friday? It can't include, because it says between Monday and Tuesday. So, no, I want you to give me the range, but it can't be -2 and it can't be -9.
So,
Yes. So if you picked any number, -3 to -8, you are correct. It cannot be -2 and it cannot be -9. Why? Why can't it be either one of those? Kaya?
because it says between those two numbers.
Right, because it says between. All right. Now, do you have a question?
No, I was gonna say, I just put all the numbers together, didn't know which one to pick.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like if you pick -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8, that's fine. I'm just not gonna write that much. Yeah. It says if graphed on a number line, how far apart would Monday and Tuesday be? So here's your number line. 0 is in the middle. What is Monday's temperature? Delilah. All right, so Delilah, I have a question. How many hops would it take me to get from -9 to 0? Okay. And then what is Tuesday's temperature? What's Tuesday's temperature? Aiden.
8.
All right, and how many hops does it take me to get from 8 to 0? And then am I going to add these two, subtract these two? What am I doing here? Willie?
You're adding.
I'm gonna add. So I'm gonna do 9 plus 8 equals 17. So it is a 17-degree spread, difference, whatever you wanna call it. Does that make sense? No? Somebody say no. Everybody's good? Okay, just make sure. All right, number 11 says, write an inequality to show the relationship between -3 and -7. So again, there's not necessarily one answer to this. So someone raise your hand and give me their answer. Gemma?
-3 is greater than -7.
Okay, so -3 is greater than -7. All right, what was another one? Zoe B. -7 is less than -3. All right, what else? Emma.
-3 is greater than or equal to 7. -7.
You said -3 is greater than or equal to -7. Okay. What else?
-7 is less than or equal to -3.
All right, what else?
The absolute value of -7 is greater than the absolute value of -3.
Okay, what else?
The absolute value of -3 is less than the absolute value of -7.
Okay, what else? There's tons. So you could do the absolute value of 7 is greater than -3. You could do the absolute value of -3 is greater than -7. And we could go on for days. So there's not just one answer. Okay, so as long as you have one of those, you're good. And you might want to write one of those absolute value ones down as well, just so you have it to just remember. All right, so our inequality was h is less than 5. So stand up if you picked A. Stand up if you picked B. Okay. Because 4 is less than 5, stand up if you picked C. Okay, 3 is less than 5, stand up if you picked D, 5 and 100. Okay, stand up if you picked E, -5. All right, perfect. All right, slide over to number 13. Now, this is where what comes in handy from yesterday. What comes in handy here that we learned about yesterday? Troy.
The coordinate grid that comes in handy is, how
Right. Now, did I give you a coordinate grid paper?
Yeah, I'm talking about using that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did, but I didn't technically give you one today, correct? So, can we use our absolute value rule to figure out these?
Yes.
Alright, so I'm gonna find the ones that's the same and I'm gonna cross it out. And then I'm gonna say the absolute value of 4 and the absolute value of negative 9. So if they're the same, what do we do? What do we do? Subtract. Same, subtract, right? If they're different, well, what do we do?
Wait, no.
If they're different, so obviously if they're the same, we're gonna subtract. So it's the only other object, or I can't even say it, option that we have. William?
Oh, addition.
Yes. So we are going to be adding these two. So this becomes 4 plus 9 equals 13 units. Okay? What's another way you can check to make sure you did this one right so that you can use the same process for each one? Can you draw a number line?
Yeah.
Yeah, because essentially you're only dealing with two numbers, right? So here's 0, here's 4, here's negative 9. How many hops does it take me to get from negative 9 to 0? 9. And how many hops does it take me to get from 4 to 0? 4. I'm gonna add those two and I end up with 13. Okay, so that's another, sorry, can't see that. That's another way you can do it because we're only actually dealing with two numbers because we're getting rid of the other coordinate. Does that make sense? All right, so the next one, we have 10, negative 2, and negative 1, negative 2. So which ones are we not using? Raise your hand and tell me. Which ones are we not using? Noah? You said negative 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Noah, am I adding the absolute values or subtracting? Adding, because they are,
Or like one's negative and one's positive.
so they're different.
Yeah.
So this becomes 10 plus 1 equals 11 units. Whoever's humming, please stop. All right, and then the last one. Which one are we getting rid of? Which one are we getting rid of? Mikael. 5. And Mikael, are we adding or subtracting the absolute values? I can't hear anything you're saying. Why? Gives you 12 units. All right, we crossed out 14. Number 15 says, I have at least 14 shirts in my closet. What are some options for how many shirts I have? Select all that apply, write an inequality. So at least 14. What is my inequality going to look like? What is my inequality going to look like? Kylie.
14 is greater than or equal to x. I put for any number that could go there.
So 14 you said is greater than or equal to x.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have something different? What'd you have, Jonathan?
I don't know. X is greater than or equal to.
Yes. So it should be x is greater than or equal to 14. Because at least 14 means what is the smallest number of shirts she's going to have in her closet? Christiana? 14. Can she have 14?
Yes.
Can she have more than 14?
Yes.
Can she have less than 14? No. So this, not going to work. All right, so stand up if you picked A, 13. Stand up if you picked B, 14. Okay. Stand up if you picked C, 0. Stand up if you picked D, 19. And stand up if you picked E, 10. All right. So number 16, it says when graphing point E, 6.5, negative 3.5, what quadrant would it be in? All right, so first and foremost, someone tell me how to get to point E. Tell me how am I get there? Kaylee, how am I gonna get there? Hold on, if you are supposed to take a picture, did they make the announcement yet for
No.
City?
No. That's crazy. It's not every now.
I know.
We said it for second grade.
Do I send it down? Do I send it?
Maybe seventh grade is taking too long.
They might have a lot of second.
You
My
need
mom
seven
told me
big
all those
pictures.
like,
I just don't want you guys to miss them. Hold on a second. I'm gonna call it. Cause I just wanna make sure, cause I can't. Stop talking. Guys, they didn't call for pictures yet, right? Hey, you guys haven't called for sixth grade pictures yet, have you? Okay, so she's off. She got it. Alright. Alright, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure. Alright, bye. Alright, y'all good. Let's keep going.
Okay.
Okay, so, Kaylee, I called on you, right? How do I get there, sweetie?
Go 6.5 to the right
Okay.
and 3.5.
Alright, so it's like right here next to the D. Alright, and then what quadrant is this one in? Which quadrant is this one in? Isaac?
The four?
Mm-hmm. Alright, so make sure you have quadrant 4. Okay? And then, the next part of that says how far away it would be from point C. Alright, so this is kind of one of those things, finding the absolute value from one point to 0 and then the other point to 0, or just counting. I like finding the absolute value, it just, I feel a little bit more comfortable, so I have 2.5 plus 1, 2, 3.5. So 2.5 plus 3.5 gives me what? Raise your hand. Emma?
6.
So 6 units apart. How many of you guys got that one right? What was your strategy to figure out how far apart they were? Noah? Did you just count? Just like what, from C all the way to E? Okay, anybody else? Just everyone's a counter in here?
Yeah.
Works for me. All right. Now, this one, if you attempted, smiley face. If you didn't, because it's kind of hard. Did anybody figure out what the perimeter was? Troy?
Oh,
No, ma'am? Delilah?
I just used the coordinate thing that was right there, so I don't know. I kind of got 16.
I got 12.
Yeah, I got 12.
At 13.
Anybody get 14?
No.
I got 12 as my score.
I got 13.
You got 13? So we have 12, 13.
I got 13 because I got 13 because I did blocks.
I just counted
8.6, I got like half of something.
Alright, so perimeters, we're just gonna give it an estimated 12 to 16. Area, you could have, if you did this, you could have found the exact area by either using a trapezoid formula or putting a square and a triangle. What did you get for area? Raise your hand.
Oh, is it area 2?
No. How is it 2, boo-boo?
I didn't say no. I was saying it's add for area 2. I didn't see that.
Oh, I thought you were, I'm sorry, Kylie. I was so confused. Yes, it says area and perimeter.
I mean, it does
I
sound
just
like
saw
something
perimeter.
I would say.
Alright, so what did we get for area, Christiana?
I got
12 units squared,
Yeah,
right?
I got 12. I got 12 as well.
12 units squared is what
Oh.
you should have.
Oh.
Yeah. Don't forget, because you, listen, when you cut that triangle and the square, it becomes what, 2 times 3 divided by 2? Not 5 times 3 divided by 2.
Oh,
Me and I don't know. I made my
I'll show you. Hold on. So right here, when you cut it in half, you have 3 times 3, that's your square.
May I have your attention, please? Sixth grade students or spring pictures, please report to the auditorium. Whether
Go ahead,
it's 8 or not. Thank you.
And then this is no longer a length of 5. This becomes a length of 2. All right, let's keep going. So number 18, it says, what are some common multiples of 10 and 15? I know it's been a minute since we've done multiples in GCF. But that is not true.
It's supposed to be that loud.
That's a whole thing.
Oh, hush. Okay, so multiples of 10. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Okay, multiples of 15. So we have 15. So that gets rid of A, B, C, and D. Why? Why do we get rid of those first 4? Delilah?
Because they're not part of the multiples that you put up with.
Right,
That
and-
are-
And they have to be the same. All right, so then the next one is going to be 30. So 30 is 1. So we can circle 30. The next one is 45. The next one is 60. So we can circle 60. The next one is 75. And then the next one is 90. Okay? So those should have been the correct answers for that. How do we do with that one? I know it's been a minute since we talked about multiples and. All right. Number 19 says, what is the greatest common factor of the GCF of 8 and 24? So doing a tall T right here. Someone raise your hand and tell me the factors for 8. What are the factors for 8? Kylie?
1 times 8 and 2 times 4.
All right, what are the factors for 24? So we 1 times 24. Aiden.
1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and 4 times 6.
Okay, so we can get rid of 1, we can get rid of 2, we can get rid of 4, we can get rid of 24. So our answer is 8. All right, number 20 says select all that are true. So stand up if you said A is true.
You know, you can see people
It is true because 2 and 3 tenths minus 2 and 3 tenths is equal to what? 0. Stand up if you said negative 3 and 7 tenths plus negative 4 and 1 tenth is positive. Thank you, Lord. All right, stand up if you said negative 2 and 6 tenths minus negative 12 fourths is positive. Perfect. All right, stand up if you said 5 halves plus negative 2 and a half is negative. What does it become?
2.5.
Because 5 halves becomes what? 2 and a half, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 2 and a half plus negative 2 and a half becomes 0. Yep. And then the last one is 72 minus negative 100 is negative. Do you have a question?
About C because negative 12 fourths is equal to 4, and a minus a negative number.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. Yep, this is correct.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. So C is right. Thank you. All right. So some of us are standing for this one, some of us are not. Does anybody say that this is not true? A negative times a negative becomes a positive. So therefore, that is not right. All right, we have 4 more. Alright, so heron is perched on a tree, so I'm gonna draw my number line. This is 0. 50 feet above sea level, directly below the heron, a pelican is flying 17 feet above sea level, and directly below the birds is a trout swimming 23 feet below sea level. Alright, so we're selecting all that are true. The difference in height between the pelican and the heron is negative 33 feet. Stand up if you pick that one. Why is that one not right? Emma?
Because absolute value can't be negative.
Right, cannot be a negative. The difference in height between the pelican and the heron is 33 feet. Stand up if you pick that one. That should be correct. The distance between the height of the pelican and heron is negative 33 feet. And we know why? Absolute value. The difference in height between the pelican and the trout is negative 40 feet. Why is that not true? By now we should all know, right? Why is that not true? Y'all can just tell me.
Absolute value.
Alright, flip it over. E says, if it will focus in, please. Alright, E says the difference in height between the pelican and the trout is 40 feet. Stand up if you pick that one. Okay, that should be correct. And then the distance between the height and the of the pelican and the trout is 40 feet. Stand up if you pick that one. So that one should also be circled. Because the distance and the difference are essentially the same. Okay? Alright, flip it back over so we can finish number 22. A dolphin is at the surface of the ocean. What is the dolphin's elevation? So if I have my number line again, and this is the ocean surface, what is the elevation to start with at the ocean surface? Shall I have it? 0. Alright, the dolphin dives 20 feet below the ocean. What is the new elevation? So now we're at negative 20 feet. So what is the new elevation? William?
20 feet below sea level.
Yes. Why did you not say negative 20 feet?
Because absolute value is never negative.
So 20 feet below sea level. I'm so very glad that you said it that way. Alright. Flip it over. Alright, so number 23 gave a few people a little bit of a problem, like, just because it was worded kind of weird. So starting at 7 a.m., Lynn spent a day hiking through the canyon. This graph shows her elevation, y, in meters at some different times. So all of these are before noon, and all of these are afternoon. Okay? So it says, what is her elevation at 2 p.m.? So right here is the dot. What is her elevation at 2 p.m.? And what do you think this x-axis is representing? What is the x-axis representing? What do you think, Noah? Sea level or ground level, right? Because it's the canyon, so let's just say instead of sea level, ground level. All right, so this is going to be ground level. If you wrote sea level, it is the exact same thing, because what is sea level and ground level's value? 0. All right, so what is her elevation then? Noah?
2 feet below.
Yes. So 2 feet below. If you wrote sea level, that's fine. I'm going to write ground level. But essentially, again, it is the same thing. So if you have sea level on there, fine. If you have ground level on there, fine. All right, and then the last one. The drink cost at most $3.50. Write an inequality to express the cost. Bless you.
Thank you.
So what is our inequality going to look like? Troy?
3.50 is greater or equal to
Because it's at most. So the most it's going to cost you to buy a drink wherever is how much? So are you gonna have to spend more than that? Can you spend that? Can you spend less than that? Alright, so it should be C is less than or equal to 350. Okay, now for the graphing part, remind me, how do I graph this inequality? Because I know it's been a minute. Delilah?
You do it with the, like, we start, I'm gonna start on 0, I think it's 3.5, so I was like 3.5.
To the right or to the left of 0?
Right.
Okay? So open circle, close circle.
I'm at close.
Closed. Because we could pay $3.50 for a drink. I agree, but we could pay that. Now, which direction is my arrow going? To the right or to the left?
To the left.
Yes. All right. Questions about your, whatever this thing's called?
Study guide.
Study guide. I'm gonna go ahead, let me publish the code for the test. It is 17 questions, so it's not terribly long. But like I said, we have about 15 minutes, so I wanna give you as much time as possible. And a lot of you are going to be going to the awards assembly tomorrow, which is in the middle of first period. And we have a shortened period and all of that. So let's go ahead and get started on the test. I went ahead and published the code. I'm going to also put it over here so you guys don't have to waste time on Canvas. So just get on SchoolNet. I'm gonna come around with the paper